Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Mayor Benjamin Magalong says Baguio City is now working under the assumption that the UK variant is already in the city. Magalong says they're now implementing strict border controls because the city's proximity to Mountain Province and Benguet makes it vulnerable to the entry of the new variant. As contact tracing czar, Magalong says he's also helping Bontoc and Benguet identify and quarantine those who came in contact with patients infected with the UK variant. In general, Magalong said the spike of cases in the Cordillera region was due to the recent Christmas season. The contact tracing czar has likewise deployed Baguio's contact tracers to nearby provinces with confirmed cases of the UK variant. Magalong lamented the lack of funds for the rehiring or hiring of contact tracers, saying some provinces are left to deal with fresh surges in cases without any contact tracers.
Yung ibang LGU na from 176, biglang naging zero yung contact tracers. Wala ko kayong i-deploy. You have to again to rely on your original na contact tracers na talagang exhausted, na pagod na. Ang nakikita ho namin kung bakit mababa rin yung ating contact tracing efficiency ratio, yung pag-i-encode. Kung if you're only relying on 10 encoders, talagang hindi mo mai-encode lahat.
The Interagency Council for Traffic continues its crackdown on colorum vehicles and operators who fail to implement strict health protocols among passengers. To tell us more about this, we have Justine Punsalang. She's reporting to us live from Commonwealth in Quezon City. Justine, good morning. What operations specifically are the IACT launching today?
Charles, the Interagency Council for Traffic, or IACT, continues their part in making sure that the community transmission of the COVID-19 virus will not happen or could be prevented inside public transportation. They have been doing this for months, and sadly, they face the same problems, same issues every time they do their operations. For today's special operation, the IACT focused on inspecting public utility vehicles to make sure that the 7 health commandments will be strictly followed. The 7 health commandments include wearing a face mask and face shield, no using of phones, no eating, proper vehicle ventilation, proper and frequent disinfection, one seat apart system, and no symptomatic passenger on board. But as the authorities flagged down PUVs along Commonwealth Avenue this morning, they encounter bus drivers and conductors who are lax in enforcing the no face shield, no entry rule. IACT operatives had to enter buses and conduct a short lecture to remind passengers that they should wear their face shields properly. There are buses overloading, despite physical distancing being the #1 reminder to the public in avoiding the further spread of the coronavirus. But one bus unit will be impounded for having multiple violations, including its driver not having a license with him. The person driving the bus by the time of apprehension was actually the conductor and sibling of the designated driver. He explained that the driver apparently was feeling ill and asked his brother to take the wheel. The problem is, the conductor turned driver did not have his license with him because it was confiscated due to a prior traffic violation. IACT team leader retired Colonel Jose Manuel Bonivi sympathized with the driver falling ill, but he explained that instead of letting a different person drive the passenger bus, he should have just taken a rest until he felt better. Besides driving without license, their other violations were overloading of passengers, many of which were not properly wearing their face shields and lack of plate number. Sadly, passengers were forced to alight the bus and find a different mode of transportation during the rush hour. Charles, the IACT operatives have apprehended additional 3 buses and 3 colorum vans and one unit of a taxi, all of which will be impounded in Pampanga. Meanwhile, we have also issued 35 traffic violation tickets to drivers. IACT assured doing these operations to make sure that all passengers will feel safe and not fear the fear of COVID-19 transmission and unsafe public transportation. Charles?
All right, thanks for that, Justine. But then I understand that this crackdown is directed mainly against drivers and operators. But do any penalties await passengers who breach health protocols while in public transportation?
Charles, we have observed that the passengers inside these buses actually have with them their face shields. The problem is once they are inside the buses, it's either they remove it or they put it on their heads. And it is the conductor's additional job during the pandemic to make sure that these face shields will be properly used. So sadly, while it is the passengers who are violating the protocols as they are not wearing the face shield properly, it is the drivers and the conductors who receive penalties for not having their passengers follow the protocols. Charles?
Right, Justine, talking about protocols, are there any new public transport protocols that we need to consider in order to address the entry of the new variant of COVID-19 in the Philippines?
Charles, according to the IACT, there is no new set of rules or no new set of protocols with the UK variant coming here in the country. However, that is why is continuous 7 health protocols, 7 health commandment operations to make sure that these protocols will be strictly followed so that even the UK variant of COVID-19 will not be transmitted vastly in the country. Charles?
Thanks for that, Justine. That was Justine Punsalang reporting live from Quezon City. Let's take a look at the biggest COVID-related stories from around the world. Russia is set to supply Hungary with its Sputnik V vaccine after Budapest gave its initial approval for the shot. Budapest's approval is independent of the EU and could cause tensions with Brussels as the vaccine has not yet been approved by the European Medical Agency. More regulatory approvals for Sputnik V are expected this month as Russia is slowly building up its global customer base for its shot. Egypt has started vaccinating health workers against COVID-19 over the weekend using the shots developed by China's Sinopharm. Egypt's health ministry has said that the vaccine will be free for all doctors and frontline workers, senior citizens, and people with chronic illnesses. A top official said Egypt is on track to approve 3 other vaccines. And Israel expanded its vaccination program to include 16 to 18-year-old children. This as their government aims to enable their attendance at school exams. Israel, which has the world's fastest vaccine distribution rate, is eyeing to reopen its economy by next month. We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. It's been 6 years since the Mama Sapano clash that claimed the lives of 44 members of the PNP Special Action Force. Today, the police force is remembering their fallen heroes. Let's get more details from Gemma Vansenia. She's reporting live from Maguindanao. Gem, what do you have for us?
Charles, flowers, prayers, and a 21-gun salute were offered this morning as the police regional office here in Bangsamoro Autonomous Region is commemorating the death of SAF 44. Recall that this SAF personnel were killed in Barangay Tucan, Nalipaw, Mama Sapano here in Maguindanao 6 years ago. Police Regional Director Samuel Rodriguez led the wreath-laying ceremony today. In his speech, he said that the gallantry of SAF 44 who sacrificed their lives for the country should always be remembered. The troops were able to kill Malaysian bomber Zulkifli Abdir alias Marwan, who was one of the FBI's most wanted. Meanwhile, the PRO-BAR also honored the SAF troopers who were killed and wounded after the raid in Barangay Limbo, Sultan Kudarat on Saturday. Other police units who participated in the raid also received awards. 12 were killed on the target site, including former barangay chairman Datu Pendatun Talusan. Their families, including their neighbors, refused to comment on the incident. Charles, the Talusan group were allegedly involved in robbery, murder, and carnapping here in Maguindanao. Thus, the police is on full alert status for the possible retaliation of the Talusan group. Charles?
Thanks for that, Jem. That was Jem Avancenia reporting live from Maguindanao. Fast break now to some sports news. Conor McGregor's highly anticipated return resulted in a shocking upset as Dustin Poirier knocked him out in the second round of their lightweight bout on Sunday. The Diamond staggered McGregor with an overhand left before dropping him with a straight right just before referee Herb Dean waved it off 2 minutes and 32 seconds into round 2. It was a major shock for UFC's biggest draw, who returned to the octagon for the first time in a year. Meanwhile, Filipina tennis ace Alex Ayala clinched her first ITF title at 15 years old. Ayala rallied to come from behind 5-7, 6-1, and 6-2 to beat Yvonne Cavalier-Reimers in the women's singles of the W15 Manacor tournament. The Filipina bested the hometown bet in the tournament put up by the Rafael Nadal Academy in Spain to claim her first title at a professional event. And as they say, Bren lang malakas. Filipino powerhouse Bren Esports is officially the best ML team in the world after claiming the title in the Mobile Legends Bang Bang M2 World Championship in Singapore. Smart and PLDT President and CEO Manny Pangilinan congratulated Bren for being the first Philippine team to win the M2 World Championship. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 1 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.